Management interviews. Mr. Expert, you stated that the standard of value is fair market value, which implies a willing buyer and seller both having reasonable knowledge of the facts and circumstances. Would a willing buyer be willing to purchase a company without knowledge of its personnel? Did you interview management to find out the answer to that question? Shannon.
So, obviously, if I did interview management, the answer is yes. But there are times when I attend the deposition and or give the attorney questions to ask that would typically be asked in a management interview. And so I'll answer that question that I either attended or read the deposition, which included the same topics that would have been asked in a management interview.
Okay. Kev?
You want to try to interview somebody that can tell you what the expectations are for the company. Generally, that's management. It may not be. If you don't have access to you want to be able to answer that question in a way that indicates that you have some idea as to what the internal expectations are for the company.
What might you do if you don't have an opportunity to interview management as an alternative?
Wow.
Let's talk in a litigation context. I can think of two ways offhand.
Look at board minutes, perhaps. I don't know if that's where you're going. I think there are mitigating things you can do. Ask for a deposition.
All right, that's number one.
Subpoena information.
A lot of people try and do this in the form of an interrogatory. Okay, list like questions for management. My personal opinion is interrogatories are worthless. You always get responses back. Question is too broad. I mean, literally, one right after another. I just find interrogatories to be completely worthless. So I always push the attorney for a deposition.
Yep.
Miles, you have a thought on that? Or you agree? Or
I have people that will object.
Is your name Miles?
Well, I just wanted to follow up with what I was saying.
Miles, let's let Kevin finish his thought. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I love Kevin. Kevin loves
Now he's going to pout. Go ahead.
Kevin, finish.
Go ahead.
You're the
That was unimportant. Go ahead.
Okay. Management interviews are my favorite. I'm going to attend, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to win the case there. Okay. Second, if an expert is valuing and doesn't seek to do the management interview, I will destroy them. And here's the fun thing about CPAs. A lot of times CPAs and other business valuation experts cannot articulate what the driver of the business is. How does the company make money? How does the owner make it rain? How does the marketing department make it rain? Forget about the future. Forget about the, how do they operate day to day? Where do the leads come from? Is that subject to being taken away by somebody? Can it be sold? Is it? So management interviews, if you don't ask for them, opposing counsel is going to destroy you.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. So do the management interviews, and if you don't have the answers to the questions you need, tell your lawyer to get you more time.
Yeah.
Day in, day out, just like with the subpoenas. You don't have what you need to form an opinion. Don't form the opinion. Say, I need more time with management. And I've played that game successfully my entire career. I don't care about all that other stuff, but management interviews, yeah.
A funny story along those lines. This is when I was still a baby expert witness, and I had asked for a site visit and a management interview. But you know, how it gets transferred from me to the attorney, to the other attorney, to the client. At that point, it's just a site visit. So the attorneys say they're all going to be there. So I pull up to the manufacturing facility expecting, 2 teams of attorneys to be there. And instead I get a phone call. None of the attorneys can make it. Should go ahead with the site visit, but I can't ask any questions.
Yeah, good luck.
It was the most awkward hour of my life because it was me and the opposing spouse walking around and I couldn't ask any questions.
That is
But-
rescheduled.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of it, I would have said I'm leaving. Back then, I spent the hour there, got in the car, called the attorney I was working with and said, that's not going to work. I've got to have a chance to ask some questions.
On the bell curve of possibilities, worst case scenario, file a motion with the court to require the management interview. And then when you're getting beaten up on cross, did you have a management interview? Well, no, we filed a motion asking the court to compel it, and the court didn't compel it, so we tried. But the not trying is the,
Well, I gave the example this morning, following up on that, when Hitchner was presenting, where I was involved in a case and I needed specific information, and we had requested, I had requested that of counsel, and counsel didn't follow through with a motion to compel. And so I did not get what I needed, and when we got to court, I had to issue a qualified opinion, first of all. And we're in court, and we're going through my opinion, and I cited the qualification, and the judge looks at me, well, Mr. Martin, I understand the qualification. Did you ask for what you were seeking? I said, yes, I did. Judge turns to counsel, Mr. Counselor, did you file a motion to compel for that information? And the attorney sheepishly looks up and said, no, Your Honor. Judge looks at me, Mr. Martin, we're moving on. I never did that was in 2005 timeframe. I never did another case without having the attorney file a motion to compel to make sure I got the deposition, and then I got,
And if
production of documents.
and if the attorney won't do it, withdraw.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need that kind of stress in your
No,
life.
you don't. Did you have a follow-up comment?
That's just my opinion. What do I know?
Yeah. I think you kind of need to get above the fray and ask yourself, number one, is a management interview required? No, it's not required. The standards don't require a management interview. And then say, what am I trying to get to from the management interview? Well, I have questions that I would like to be answered. And if it's litigation, generally, the attorney will be hiring us. I'll give those questions to the attorney and tell them who I need those questions to go to. I can think of, you didn't do a management interview? No, I tried, but you weren't able to do it. No. And I wouldn't say this in the courtroom, but the reality is anybody that's got an axe to grind in management is going to give me a tainted answer anyway. We're going through as a panel trying to answer questions in a black and white way, and it's gray. Everything is gray. And so all we can do is give you the perspectives of 3 people. There's Miles' incorrect way. Say that with great love in my heart. Question.
Hey, Harold, you mentioned that you issued a qualified opinion.
Right.
In USPAC terms, are you invoking extraordinary assumptions, hypothetical conditions?
No, it was just a scope limitation.
Okay, and was that disclosed in the body of the report?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's not like a USPAC concept?
No.
Okay. Have you ever gone to court with some extraordinary assumption or hypothetical condition? Have you ever had to explain that in a court?
I personally have not. Any of you? Have you ever gone to court where you've issued a report with an extraordinary assumption or hypothetical condition as defined in USPAP? I can't think of a litigation where that happened.
No, but I will tell you that.
Don't talk about calculations yet.
I wasn't. You will get the question, hypothetically speaking, if you blank.
Stop there. That's a great segue into the next slide.